In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the best adventurers builds of all time, featuring the Johnny Thunder and Indiana Jones sub-themes. Let's get right into it with this build here. As we can see, it is a palace featuring a lot of these inventions. We've already looked at this build in the steampunk video, so we're going to move on to the first real build of today's video, this Egyptian pyramid. As you can see, we've got the protagonist out the front with a horde of mummified Egyptians emerging from the tomb. We've got these transparent green 1x2 bricks with a light behind them, providing that eerie green glow. For the walls of the pyramid, we've got these printed and decorated pieces that look like 1x5 bricks or wall panels. These are used again at the top with a lot of the classic adventurers parts from the 1980s and 90s, including the minifigures. At the top, we've got mostly these slopes of different heights and a few bare studs creating that ruined effect, with one of the old sarcophagus pieces used in the front and center. We've got a lot of these tan shrubbery, especially the old grass stems, including a lot of the quite rare olive green grass stems. For the rocks at the front, we've got some curved slopes in dark tan, creating these forms scattered throughout. With a lot of snot work, I think this works quite well. For the ground itself, we have a whole lot of curved plates and cut plates layered up to create that sandy desert effect. And while I think it has a little too much texture for a typical desert, it works quite well. Another part I wanted to talk about in terms of texture are these pillars. They're made just using what look like rounded corner bricks, and I don't think they quite do the job well enough. I think some built pillars could have worked nicer, but I know this build was built under a time constraint. For the palm trees, the builder has used these old pieces linked together to create the classic palm tree, but with the new leaves on top. A nice blend of old and new. As you can see here, this was built in just 24 hours, showing why there are certain parts lacking in detail, but a great build nonetheless. Moving on, this build is packed full of nice part usage and details. It features an adventurer descending into a tomb from the entrance of a well. At the top we have this sail piece in brown, likely from a set such as Jabba's sail barge from Star Wars, used as a sort of covering over the well. Here, unlike the last one, the desert sands have been tiled off using 2x2 tan tiles, and the sand dug out is also in 2x2 blocks. Well, I'm not sure if this is completely accurate to Lego desert sand, or if this takes reference from some sort of media or some sort of source. I think it does the job quite well and looks good from afar as sand piled up. Moving down, we have a lot of good part usage, starting with this flex tube right here and an olive green minifigure hand as a vine. For the top of these pillars, we have those 1x2 panel pieces stacked on top of each other to create this tiered effect. These are not clicked in at all, they are simply stacked upside down to create this. On the back of the build, we have what look like tan door pieces with the handles sticking out. As you can see, between them there are these what look like Technic pin pieces, once again in dark tan, that have been pushed into the gaps. I'm not entirely sure what these are or how that works. On either side we have some handle pieces framing the pillar. The windows at the back are achieved with these 1x2 window frames, and then stuffed full of these minifigure backpack brackets that have been put into the back at different angles. I think it works very well, and it's definitely a very creative technique, even if it is slightly illegal. For the sort of chandelier hanging here, we have 2 pumpkins and a whole lot of can bucket handles sprouting out from the sides. I think it does a really good job. Moving down, we have the iron bars, created with a whole lot of bar pieces and some minifigure hands to connect them. The paneling and pillar techniques are continued down to the bottom, where we see another example of these panel pieces being used. For the floor, what looks like window frames have been laid on their side with 1x1 cheese slopes inserted into them to create this very smooth brick effect. I think it works really well. For the base, there's some more snot techniques with some simple details and an elegant rounded black base, finishing off a really good build. Moving on, we have a very modern take on the Adventurers, featuring a dark tan temple with this ornate ring above it. Starting at the bottom, you can see the technique used to build sand here was by using a whole lot of curved slopes in tan that have been stacked up along the base. We've got a few shrubs and a few sticks above them, but most of it, the texture is created just with these slopes, and it works really well. This is probably my preferred choice of building technique for sand, but of course it takes a lot of parts, and a lot of specialized parts too. For the base, we can see an angle has been achieved along the bottom, primarily probably with some mixel joints connecting them, or perhaps these side pieces are just resting in place without any connection. Some stairs at the front lead us up to the golden entrance. Moving up through the walls, we can see a lot of these snot techniques used to frame the windows, but at this image quality I won't be able to tell you much more about it. On the sides, we have these snot built panels at varying angles, which I think work really well, with the exposed studs and rounded tiles creating that ruined effect. A few torches and braziers on top light up the scene, and this very interesting construction over the top really adds a lot to the shaping of the build. We can see they've used hinge plates along these corners, tiled off with tan and dark tan tiles. To secure it at this angle, I believe that some of these pillars are not actually connected to it, while a few of them are probably connected with those hinges that you often see. At the back, a statue of the Egyptian Anubis, I believe, reigns over this temple. It's well crafted, and we can see a light blue gem at the back. Presumably that's the treasure the adventurers are searching for. Moving down, we have a more classic adventurers build, whilst still very modernized. This one is about the adventurers in the jungle, another classic sub-theme of the original Lego theme. We've got an interesting medium nougat and dark tan temple with a brightly coloured archway on top and a few fruits. A small boat below and some interesting shapes which I'm not quite sure what they are. But what we can see though is that these have been built with these inverted arches and what looks like a 1x2 teal plate simply wedged in between. Certainly an inventive technique. Moving on, we have a build that's not minifigure scale, but it's the first build this video with brick built characters. We can see what looks like Johnny Thunder and perhaps Sam Sinister. another character from the theme. They both seem old and in wheelchairs, and presumably this is an old age home. We've got a dinosaur statue on the back, using a dinosaur head from the Jurassic Park sets, presumably referring to the expedition on Dinosaur Island sub-theme, as well as an Anubis statue that references the desert sub-theme. We've got a Monopoly board in the middle, and I must say, it is a very interesting build. Next, we have a very good build and a personal favourite of mine. Titled the Jungle Pagoda, we've got some elegant rock work, a tree climbing up the side, and a temple accessed by a bridge. As we can see, the arch under the temple has been fitted with these 1x6 yellow plates that have just been pushed into the gaps under the arch. It's an illegal technique, but I think it works really well here, and I'll be sure to use it in my future builds. For the bamboo, we have a lot of these green and dark tan candle pieces with some flower stems and traditional bamboo pieces on top, which works very well. For the bridge, we have a lot of these hose pieces. This piece has brown plastic parts but a black string, so I'm wondering if that's fake Lego or perhaps just from a set I don't know about. We've got a lot of vines, a lot of greenery, and even a scorpion. It's a great build. For the water, we've got a lot of these trans blue 1x2 bricks stacked vertically and then laying down on their side, with a few spots of wildlife like these parrots, the crocodile, and of course a monkey, as well as these olive green grass stem pieces that have been put into the leaves to bulk out that tree. I think this build does a great job. Moving down, we have another modern take on a classic build. This time I want to focus on the palm trees. You can see they've used these dark tan eggshell pieces stacked and threaded onto a flex tube to create that signature bark of the palm trees. I think it works really well, but of course it would have taken a lot of pieces. For the plane, we've got some of the original prints on a modern design with some better shaping and new pieces. I think it looks really good. The car features a similar treatment, but we've still got the same minifigures by the look of it, but simply with a few modern additions and the yellow swapped out for skin color. For the sands of the desert, they've built tan panels and laid them sideways, using snot bricks to connect the palm trees and slopes for the edge of the build. To photograph this, they've put it on real sand, or a photo of sand, but presumably real, which I think looks quite good and probably is similar to how the original Lego sets would have had their covers photographed for the box art. Moving on, we have a very nice build. This one's a rather small vignette, but I think it does a great job. You can see also in this one, the minifigures have been swapped out from yellow skin to a more skin color build. We've got this very nice statue here of Anubis, where a black sausage has been used for the tail, and what looks like a minifigure piece has been used for the head. We've got a few coins and a few of those printed parts used on the sarcophagus. The mummy is walking outside, and there's a scorpion and a few red snakes. Some of the old rifle parts are lying around, and this build also uses a different palm tree technique to what we've seen so far. This one takes what looks like they might be 1x1 droid heads in brown and stacks them upside down vertically. This doesn't let the palm tree bend, but I think it recreates that tiered look that I think works quite well. For the dead bushes at the bottom, we've got an upside down dark tan shrub with a few leaves on top. And as you can see, we've got a radar dish in green capping off the build. Here is a very modern rendition of an adventurer's build. We have a skate park set in the desert. With some great colouring and very clean geometry, I like this build, even if it's not particularly adventurous. One thing I'm not a fan of though is this railing piece, which is created by bending a flex tube. Highly sacrilegious if you ask me. Here we've got a plane. Even though this looks like a digital build, I am not quite sure if it is. But what we do know for sure is that this propeller has been made with Harry Potter wands stuck in one of those three-way connector pieces. For the gun on the side, we've got what looks like Star Wars blaster pieces and a map flying out the back held with some transparent bricks. Here we've got a different technique for the sand once again. Perhaps this is a micro-scale desert that the pilot is flying over, but I think this might be life scale in comparison to the minifigure, and so it becomes a very blocky but smooth desert. That's all for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know which one was your favourite in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you next time.